Coach, while we wait on any questions, if you could please take a moment to comment on your team as you go into the Ole Miss game on Saturday.
Yeah, we're excited to start SEC play, especially, being at home in Bryant-Denny Stadium, and should be a great atmosphere for the game against a really, really good team. Got one of the best offenses in the country, very well coached, big challenge for our defense. Quarterbacks, Dart's playing really, really well for them, run and pass, and they've got good skill guys, really great runner. Their defense is, playing really solid and good defense for them. So this is going to be a very challenging game for us, but we're excited to start SEC play.
We'll begin with John Senior of the Associated Press.
Yes, Coach, you just mentioned Dart. Can you, just from watching film, can you see areas where he's improved from last year?
Well, we thought he was a really good player last year. I think he's playing extremely well this year. I can't really say there's a great comparison, but he's throwing the ball well. He's always a threat as a runner. They have quarterback runs in their offense, which he does a great job of reading them. This guy's tough and a great competitor, and it'd be really challenging for us to play him run and pass.
Next up will be Mike Rodak of 24/7 Sports.
Decision to coach from the booth this season.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part.
What went into Kevin Steele's decision to coach from the booth this season?
Well, I've answered this question, several times before, but I leave it up to the coordinators to decide where they think they can do the best job. Kevin thought he'd, be able to do better in the press box, and, that's worked out well for us so far.
Next is Emily McWhorter of The Next Round.
Hey, Coach, thank you for your time. We see such a small portion of what goes on inside of your team. What have you seen internally this week that's an indicator they're responding well to adversity?
The team's been great. They've got good energy, good enthusiasm. Practices have gone well. I think, everybody has a tremendous amount of respect for the challenge that we have coming up, and I think they've responded to it extremely well.
Thank you, Coach.
Next will be Matt Stahl of AL.com.
Yeah, kind of on that same note, what have you seen from Tommy Rees as he's dealt with some of those struggles y'all have had offensively?
Yeah, well, we're all working hard. It's everybody's responsibility to try to get it right and find a better way. And we're all working together offensively and defensively and special teams and every part of our team to try to do that. And I think we're making progress. And I think the most important thing is we trust and believe in our players, and we got to be positive in our approach to, how we try to help them have more success on the field.
Thank you.
Next is Sheldon Mickles of the Baton Rouge Advocate.
Good morning, Coach. The last couple of years, does it seem like the league is kind of leveling out where a lot of teams? I know in the past, teams have beaten other teams, but it's always beat this team, beat that team league. Does it seem like it's more balanced now, more level with NIL and the transfer portal? Because teams are like Florida beat Tennessee the other day. Georgia struggled a little bit with South Carolina. Do you see the whole league, LSU last year coming out of nowhere? Is it more equal now, level?
I think there is more parity, to your point. And I think that because there's more multiples of ways to bring players to your team, I think sometimes the stronger teams, lose some of their depth on their team that go someplace else to play. And I think some of the teams that are trying to improve have more opportunity to do that because they have greater resources as to where they can get players, especially more experienced players that are more ready to play, as soon as they get on campus.
Thank you, Nick.
Next will be Bob Holt of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette.
Hey, Nick. I know you refuted what Lane Kiffin said about he didn't think it looked like Kevin Steele was calling the defense anymore, but then after you said that, Kiffin kind of doubled down and said he still believed that. I'm just curious, what do you make of that? Do you think it's gamesmanship? Why do you think he's doing that? What's your reaction to that?
I don't really have a reaction to it. I mean, I'm concerned about what we do and with our team, our coaches, and how they work together as a unit to do the best job for our players, and I'm not really concerned about anything else.
Thanks.
Next will be Lane Higgins of the Wall Street Journal.
Hi there, Coach Saban. Got a question for you about your Aflac co-star, Deion Sanders. Obviously, it's clear that he is a great marketer and a great motivator, but what have you seen from Colorado on the field that leads you to believe he's a good football coach?
Oh, yeah, well, I haven't been able to see him a lot. I saw a little bit of the game last week against Colorado State, but I have a tremendous amount of respect for, Deion Sanders. First, he's a great person, and he's done a great job of marketing the program to create a lot of national interest, but I see their team, playing well on the field. They play with discipline. They do a good job of executing. They've been able to score points, playing decent on defense. So, all those things to me are indicators that he's a really good coach. And I've always thought that, and he's always been successful, whether it was Jackson State, high school, or now at Colorado. His teams have always been well coached.
Thank you.
Next will be Steve Moulton of WZZN.
Coach, always appreciate the time that you give us here each week. I wanted to ask about what you said back at Media Days of that cake process. Where do you think we are right now in that cake process?
I think the cake's been in the oven, out of the oven, back in the oven, and I think it's, ready to go.
Would you consider a two-quarterback system heading into this weekend, Coach?
We have not considered that.
Thank you, Coach.
That's going to be all for today, Coach. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Travel to Alabama on Saturday at 2:30 Central on CBS. To ask a question for Coach Kiffin, please press 10 on your telephone's keypad now. And, Coach, while we wait on any questions, if you could take a moment to comment on your team as they enter the SEC opener in Tuscaloosa. I think we may have Coach Kiffin now. Coach, is that you?
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right. Hey, while we wait on questions, would you comment on your team as you prepare to travel to Tuscaloosa on Saturday?
Yeah, sorry I was late. Practice went over. Takes a lot of plays to try to play these guys. So, guys are working hard. I think they're in a good mindset. But, trying to, with a team that's over 50% new, and I don't even know the numbers, but I doubt how many of these players have even been in there. And we played at home or in front of 30,000, which half of that crowd of 30,000 was ours. So it's a different animal, and just trying to get our players to focus on what they can control and not let the outside stuff matter.
For questions, press 10, and we'll begin with John Zener of the Associated Press.
Yeah, Lane, what kind of growth have you seen from Jaxson Dart, not only on the field, but how he handled some new competition in the offseason?
Well, I think challenges and diversity make us all better. So even though I'm sure he didn't like it at the time, it was good for him, and he's played extremely well, and he's suffered through some skilled player injuries around him, and so kind of had to put the team on his back there, or the offense on his back there a little bit the last 2 weeks.
And he talked after that game about how much he loved the physicality of football. Now that's probably something a coach wants to hear from every other position. How do you feel when he talks about that, and you maybe wanted to not take so many hits?
Well, that kind of like his parents have very tough mindsets. Mom runs marathons, and dad was a safety. So he has that in him, which is good. We just got to be smart when we use it. But he's got a very competitive, tough side to him for sure.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next is Emily McWhorter of the next round.
Hey, Coach. So this is a game that I've seen dubbed as your Super Bowl and wanting to beat your former boss. I know you've heard just about everything implication-wise. Is this overblown by us in the media, or is this Saturday a game you've also circled for those reasons?
Yeah, I'd like to say we're only playing one, top team in the country. And you could say it's your Super Bowl, but last time I checked, we play a lot of really good teams after that, including LSU the following week, who's as hot as anybody in the country after watching them last week. So, and then go into Georgia at some point, the top team, longest win streak in the country. So we got a lot of challenges. Happens when you play in the West and you're crossover to Georgia. So this isn't about me. This is about us trying to prepare really well and play really well in a very hard place to play. And we're beat up on offense. So, we just got to take one play, one series at a time and try to find a way to get some first downs.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Next is AP Stedham of AP and Kelly.
Coach, how can you turn playing against a team that might use multiple quarterbacks into an advantage for your team?
Well, I think he was very clear on who he's going with, so I don't foresee multiple quarterbacks playing. He's already made this switch a couple times already, so knowing him, he's going to stay this direction. So we have a very challenging player, one we're very familiar with our defensive coordinator being there and knowing him and, watching him play not just this year, but, last year when he had to play the A&M game, which was a road team coming in there and took him down to the last play. So this is a very challenging quarterback to play against.
Coach, have you seen a coordinator coming from another team to your side being a distinct advantage through the years? Has that been the case?
I think that's overblown. Howard DeCase, how did, Coach beat whatever, 24 straight, whatever it was, former employers. So just being there and knowing the place doesn't translate into winning, or that would be very different. So I think way too much is made of that.
Thank you.
Next is Sheldon Nichols of the Baton Rouge Advocate.
Hey, Lane. Georgia's Georgia, and they even had a tussle with South Carolina the other day. The West, LSU came out of nowhere to win last year. Do you think the West, you talked a little bit about it a few seconds ago, but is the West almost kind of like crazy where anybody can win, you think? I mean, just about anybody can win it this year because of how level the playing field has become?
I just think it's, the playing field's all over the place in college football and SEC, I think because of portal and I think what you're going to see is, your guys' media like predictions at the beginning of the year over time here last year, this year, and coming years is probably going to be really off and hard to do because you got all these new pieces that you don't know how they're going to fit together. So I'm not worried about the West and it being wide open. We got to go play Alabama, who's got the best home winning record over the last decade in the entire country. And we've got a number of injuries on offense. And like I said earlier in the week, I mean, we have one freshman linebacker that they, went heavy after that we were able to get in Perkins. Other than that, they took their 85 players and then, we had to pick from the rest. So that tells you what type of challenge it is.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next is Steve Moulton, WZZN.
Hey, Coach. Appreciate the time today. I wanted to go back to your comments right after the Tulane game, and you mentioned about them winning that game. You don't know if they would have done that in the previous year. Where do you think your program is right now? Is this the best your program's been heading into this weekend?
No, I don't think so. We still got a lot of question marks. We didn't play well on defense last week. We talked about the injuries on offense. We haven't played a snap with highly decorated receiver in Zakari that we signed. We haven't played a snap with, highly decorated or highly recruited tight end that was supposed to be our starting tight end. So, and Trey Harris has been out for a while. Who was leading the country in touchdown catches when he got hurt. So we got a lot of issues.
Defensively for Alabama, I know you've kind of talked about that in terms of facing a Kevin Steele DC or whoever is the DC in your eyes, Coach. But what are the challenges that you see that they bring physically and just able to wrap up and tackle wise?
The challenge always against Alabama on both sides, especially defense for a lot of years. I mean, all the way back to being at Tennessee, is the defensive personnel. I mean, elite personnel, playing with all NFL players. Now I got a defensive end, nobody can block, that's fast as can be. So, and now they're actually getting stronger because now they can, versus the old days, they can go pluck guys like Jalen Key and get, find starters other places in the linebacker from Georgia. So they're even more challenging personnel than ever.
Thank you, Coach.
That's going to be all for today, Coach. Thank you.